Hey sports fans, how are ya? Hope you're enjoying your Saturday. Definitely a very, very busy one in the world of sports with the news that Jamal Adams has been traded to the Seahawks in a Khalil Mack type haul. I mean, you have to commend Joe Douglas for what he got for Jamal Adams. We can argue about whether the Jets should have traded Jamal Adams all we want. The simple fact is, this is as fantastic of an offer as you could have dreamed of as a Jets fan. This is a Khalil Mack type haul. 2 firsts, a third, and a quality safety in Bradley McDougald. Make no mistake about it. He's a good player in this league. He's not Jamal Adams. But he's a quality player in this league. And the Jets got all that for a disgruntled star and a 4th rounder. This is a million times better than my dream offer of Gallup, Diggs, and a third. This sets the Jets up a lot better for the future. And that is what the Jets are telling you here. They're saying they don't want to try for this year. Now, I disagree with that plan. It's why I like the Gallup and Diggs trade more. But this is a better haul for the future. There's also no guarantee that those guys were ever truly available. So I can't kill Joe Douglas for this. Far from it. I love it, as a matter of fact. I don't like that he's punted this season away. I stand by that. I mean, you can't tell me that the Jets couldn't have been competitive this year, even if they did trade Jamal Adams. Again, Gallup and Diggs. Those are 2 guys that can help the Jets immediately. Bradley McDougald is going to help the Jets too, but not as much as Gallup and Diggs would have. I was a little confused at first as to why they traded for McDougald. But then I thought about it. He's on the last year of his contract. If he plays well, the Jets can either re-sign him or trade him at the deadline. They have Ashton Davis, who they picked in the early 3rd round. As good as McDougald is, I'd rather see Davis. But I understand why the Jets traded for McDougald. Maybe Davis isn't ready. It's certainly going to be a steep learning curve for him and every rookie. They didn't have the benefit of mini camp or anything like that. It's going to be a tough ask for these guys to come in immediately and contribute. So I really don't mind it. This is a perfect trade for the Jets. It really is. This is a Khalil Mack type haul. Yesterday, I said that there's no way they were going to get a crazy offer for Jamal Adams. Holy cow, was I wrong. And you know what? I'm glad to be wrong. Think about it. You got 2 first rounders, a 3rd rounder, and a quality safety for someone who was going to be the biggest locker room cancer that your team has ever had. This is a fragile locker room. It couldn't withstand that. And one guy who's gotten some heat for being part of that locker room dysfunction is a guy who I need to give credit to. Le'Veon Bell went out on Twitter and said something that really made me happy and should make every Jets fan happy. I'll read it for you right now. People do all the hootin' and hollerin' to get you brought in just to leave. Like people weird, yo. The internet got these dudes doing whatever for attention, even when they tell you stuff they don't believe themselves. That's a direct shot at Jamal Adams. That's a guy standing up for his football team and putting this guy on blast. Good for him. Good for Le'Veon Bell. Really, I applaud you. Quite frankly, Adam Gase and Joe Douglas should call Bell tonight, or they can wait until training camp. And they should thank him personally for tweeting that. They need all their guys coming out and blasting this guy. The people who didn't want the Jets to trade Jamal Adams are people saying, oh, this is on Douglas and Gase. Jamal Adams is a premier talent. You have to keep him happy. You have to pay him. Blah, blah, blah. Well, look. There's no question that Jamal Adams is a premier talent. I'm with you there. But he wasn't worth the contract that he wanted. $15 million a year, that's a lot for a safety. And $20 million a year is insane. Oh, but Jacob, you can never have too much talent. Well, look. When that talent causes this much of a distraction, yeah, you have to get rid of him. He's not at that level where you need to put up with it. You get his ass off the team as soon as possible. And Joe Douglas didn't wait. He handled this the right way. I don't want to hear from anyone that he didn't. He waited until Jamal Adams burned the bridge to trade him. He gave Jamal Adams every opportunity possible to stay a Jet. Jamal Adams made the conscious decision to not want to be a Jet. And he burned the bridge. He left Joe Douglas with no choice but to trade him. What's the alternative? You sign him to a big extension, and then if the Jets lay an egg, he's unhappy. Okay, so then you have an Odell Beckham situation. Where you sign a guy to a big extension, and then you trade him. How bad did that look for Gettleman? Douglas comes off smelling like roses here. Maybe he should have given Jamal Adams a contract offer. Let's assume for a minute he didn't. Alright, fine. But Jamal Adams wouldn't have accepted the contract. This guy didn't want to be a Jet anymore. And you know what? I don't want a guy like that on my football team. And Le'Veon Bell realized it. And every other Jet at training camp, when he's asked, needs to come out and say basically the same thing. Dispel the narrative early of locker room dysfunction. Show a united front. And to the people ripping on Gase. Look, I understand that this gives you another arrow in your quiver. This is another star that he couldn't get along with. But think about how this started. Joe Douglas was shopping Jamal Adams at the trade deadline last year when they were 1-6. Jamal Adams didn't like it. So the Jets talked to him afterwards. They try to mend fences. It seems like everything's okay. But then the offseason hits. Jamal Adams wants his money. The Jets want to wait. And then it spirals. Tell me how that's on Adam Gase. You think Jamal Adams wants out because of Adam Gase? Or do you think he wants out because the Jets wouldn't pay him? So if Todd Bowles was still the head coach of the Jets, Jamal Adams would still be here? He'd be willing to wait? That is the biggest load of nonsense I've ever heard in my life. This guy wanted his money, and he didn't want to wait. Or at the very least, he didn't want to wait for the Jets. He felt that he was lied to. I have no idea if he was or if he wasn't. But that's not on Gase. Gase is not the one making the contract offers. It's Joe Douglas. If you want to get on the Jets for having to trade this guy, get on Joe Douglas. Don't get on Gase. I mean, that's the typical, I hate this guy, so everything that happens is his fault logic. This is not Adam Gase's fault. This is a little bit of Joe Douglas's fault, but I don't blame him for waiting. This is Jamal Adams' fault for trying to push the issue. And thinking that he's God. For thinking that he's Christian McCaffrey or Patrick Mahomes or at that level. When he plays the least important position on the football field. It's not like the Jets won anything with this guy. Yeah, they've been a bad football team recently. There's no question about that. They lost with him, and they're going to lose without him. But it's not like they were close to making the playoffs. The plan of Joe Douglas was to punt this year away. It just was. It's why he didn't go out and make any crazy signings. He wasn't after the Byron Joneses of the world. He was after the George Fants of the world. So this trade doesn't hurt the Jets in the present. It doesn't help them, but it doesn't hurt them. And the Jets don't care about the present. Now that's not a good mindset. I have been on record saying that I don't agree with Joe Douglas punting this season away. Tom Brady is out of the division. The Jets had a golden opportunity to win it. They see every team around them get better except the Patriots. And they just decide to lay in wait. I don't think that's the right decision. But that mindset fits in perfectly with this trade. The one thing I'll give Joe Douglas credit for is sticking to his plan. He's looking to the 2021 season for when the Jets are going to push for the playoffs next. He has a plan and he's sticking to it. I disagree with the plan, but you know what? I like that there actually is a plan. Mike Maccagnan did not have a plan. John Idzik did not have a plan. This guy has a plan. He just has to execute it properly. He has to hit on these draft picks. The guys who he picks with these 3 Seahawks picks have to become contributors on the Jets' next playoff team. He can't afford to miss. He can miss with one of his own picks. Alright, no one bats 1,000. But with these 3 picks, he has to find really good players. He has to find solid contributors for the Jets' next playoff team. I thought he had a really good draft. Obviously, time will tell. But, gun to my head, I'd be willing to say that Joe Douglas is going to turn these picks into solid players. I really think so. I gave the Jets a B+ for their draft. I see no reason why he can't keep that up throughout his Jets tenure. Alright, that's going to do it for today. If I think of anything else, I may bring it up on Monday. Maybe I'll tweet it. I don't know. There's a lot to get to on Monday with the NFL and the NFLPA agreeing on what they're going to do with the salary cap, training camp, opt-outs, all that stuff. Tom Thibodeau is officially the next head coach of the Knicks. Maybe some other stories will break after the regular episode of the Jacob Valk Show. You're going to get my first ever Yankee show. It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to be watching tonight, and I'll be watching tomorrow. I'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend.